Horton's world welcomes you. The night holds its breath. Shadows twist and turn, hiding secrets in their depths. Something stirs in the darkness. A low growl rumbles through the air, sending shivers down your spine. The hair on your arm stands on end. An unease settles in your gut. You are not alone. Tales of monstrous hounds with eyes like burning coals. They haunt the edges of our world, lurking at the boundaries between life and death. To meet the gaze of a hellhound is to look upon your own mortality. The concept of the hellhound is not unique to one culture or time period. In Greek mythology, the three-headed dog Cerberus stands guard at the entrance to the underworld. The Norse have Garmr, a monstrous wolf who guards the gates of Helheim, the realm of the dead. These ancient myths speak to our deepest fears about death and the afterlife. They reflect our desire to understand what lies beyond the veil, even as they fill us with dread. Our journey into the heart of hellhound lore begins in ancient Greece, where the underworld was ruled by Hades, the god of the dead. This creature was Cerberus, the monstrous three-headed hound of Hades. His bark was said to be as loud as thunder, his eyes glowed with an infernal fire, and his teeth were sharper than any mortal blade. Cerberus was more than just a guard dog. He was a symbol of the absolute power of death, a fearsome reminder that there was no escape from the underworld's grasp. The Greeks believed that Cerberus was the offspring of the monstrous Typhon and Echidna, creatures so terrible that even the gods feared them. He was the ultimate protector of Hades' realm, a creature to be feared and revered in equal measure. Cerberus's primary duty was to stand guard at the gates of the underworld, ensuring that no living soul could enter and no dead soul could escape. His three heads allowed him to see in all directions, his keen senses alert to any sign of movement or deception. The river Styx, the river of hatred, flowed around the underworld, acting as the final barrier between the world of the living and the realm of the dead. Cerberus patrolled the shores of the Styx, his eyes scanning the mists for any sign of a soul trying to escape its fate. It was said that only a few heroes had ever managed to get past Cerberus. Heracles, the strongest of the demigods, was tasked with capturing Cerberus as one of his 12 labors. But Cerberus's role extended beyond simply guarding the gates. He was also tasked with patrolling the vast expanse of the underworld, ensuring that order was maintained among the dead. Some found peace in their afterlife, accepting their fate with quiet resignation. Others were plagued by regrets, their souls restless and tormented. Cerberus roamed these desolate landscapes, his presence a chilling reminder of the power of death. He was the enforcer of Hades' law, ensuring that even in death there was a sense of order. As the Roman Empire crumbled and Christianity spread across Europe, the ancient myths transformed. On the misty isles of Britain, the legend of the hellhound took on a distinctly local flavor. No longer simply guardians of the underworld, these spectral hounds became omens of misfortune, their appearance heralding death and disaster. From the craggy peaks of Scotland to the rolling hills of England, tales were spun of monstrous black dogs with glowing red eyes, their howls echoing through the night. To catch a glimpse of one was to be marked for death, your days numbered. Perhaps the most infamous of these British hellhounds is the black shuck, a monstrous beast said to roam the desolate coastline of East Anglia. The most famous account of the black shuck dates back to 1577, when a terrifying storm raged across the county of Suffolk. As lightning split the sky and thunder shook the ground, parishioners gathered inside the church of Blythburgh, seeking solace from the tempestuous night. Suddenly the air grew cold. The smell of sulfur filled the church, and a monstrous black dog, larger than any earthly hound, burst through the doors. Then, as quickly as it had appeared, the black shuck vanished, leaving behind a trail of destruction and the lingering stench of death. Across the border, in the land of Wales, another breed of hellhound haunted the imagination. These were the Hounds of Annwn, the Hounds of Annwn, spectral hunters who served Aron, the lord of the otherworld. Unlike their English counterparts, who were often seen as solitary creatures, the Annwn were pack hunters, their howls echoing across the misty hills as they pursued their prey. Their quarry, however, was not of this world. They hunted the souls of the wicked, those who had strayed from the path of righteousness. To hear the Annwn was to know that death was near, either for you or for someone you loved. Centuries have passed since the black shuck terrorized the parishioners of Blythburgh, and the Annwn hunted souls in the Welsh hills. The world has changed. Science has cast its illuminating light on the darkness, and yet the stories persist. From the bustling cities to the remote countryside, people claim to have encountered creatures that defy rational explanation. Large black dogs with glowing eyes, their presence accompanied by a sense of dread and unease. Are these sightings merely cases of mistaken identity, overactive imaginations fueled by centuries of folklore? The internet is rife with stories, eyewitness accounts of encounters with creatures that match the description of hellhounds. One such account comes from the American South, where a young woman named Sarah reported seeing a large black dog while driving home along a desolate country road late one night. The creature, she said, was unlike anything she had ever seen before. It was far too large to be a stray dog, and its eyes glowed with an unnatural intensity. As she drove past, the creature stood up on its hind legs and stared at her, its gaze unwavering. Sarah, terrified, sped away. The image of the creature burned into her memory. She had seen something that defied explanation, something that whispered of a darkness that lingered just beyond the edge of sight. The question of whether or not hellhounds truly exist is one that has plagued humankind for centuries. There is no definitive proof, no irrefutable evidence that would satisfy the skeptic and silence the doubter. And yet, the stories persist, passed down through generations, whispered around campfires, shared in hushed tones in the dead of night. Hellhounds, in many ways, are a manifestation of our deepest fears. The fear of the unknown, the fear of death, the fear of the darkness that lies within us all. Whether we believe in them or not, hellhounds continue to fascinate and terrify us. It is perhaps no coincidence that sightings of hellhounds often increase during times of great upheaval and uncertainty. Wars, natural disasters, pandemics, these events shake our sense of security, reminding us of the fragility of life and the ever-present threat of death. Throughout history, soldiers have reported encountering strange creatures on the battlefield, their appearances coinciding with moments of intense violence and bloodshed. In World War I, British soldiers stationed in the trenches of France told stories of a large, spectral hound that roamed no man's land, its eyes glowing red in the darkness. Whether these wartime sightings were the result of exhaustion, trauma, or something more supernatural is a matter of debate. Why do these tales endure, even in a world saturated with information and illuminated by the cold light of reason? Why do we still find ourselves drawn to the shadows, captivated by the creatures that lurk at the edges of our vision? The answer perhaps lies in the enduring power of myth. Hellhounds, like all mythical creatures, are more than just figments of our imagination. They are reflections of ourselves, embodiments of our deepest fears and desires. They represent the untamed aspects of our nature, the primal instincts that we suppress in the name of civilization. The hellhound, with its association with death, darkness, and the underworld, taps into our primal fear of the unknown. It reminds us of our own mortality, of the thin veil that separates the world of the living from the realm of the dead. In a world where we strive for control, where we seek to explain away the mysteries of the universe, the hellhound represents the one truth that we can never escape, that death comes for us all, eventually. But the hellhound is more than just a symbol of death. It is also a guardian, a protector of boundaries. Cerberus guarded the gates of Hades, ensuring that the dead remained in their place and the living did not trespass where they did not belong. In a sense, the hellhound represents the need for order, for boundaries, for the separation of realms. The hellhound's enduring presence in our culture speaks to a deeper fascination with the darkness that lies at the heart of human experience. We are drawn to the forbidden, the taboo, the things that frighten us the most. Perhaps it is because in confronting our fears, we come to a better understanding of ourselves. The hellhound, with its terrifying appearance and its association with death, forces us to confront our own mortality. It reminds us that life is precious, that our time on this earth is finite, and in doing so, it can inspire us to live more fully, to appreciate the time we have, to make the most of every moment. The hellhound's presence in our stories, our art, our music, is a testament to the enduring power of myth and the importance of exploring the darker aspects of our nature. For it is in the shadows that we often find our greatest truths. The hellhound, in its many forms, continues to captivate our imaginations, to challenge our perceptions, and to remind us that there are still mysteries in this world that we may never fully understand. And perhaps that is as it should be. The darkness, after all, is where the most interesting stories are told. We began our journey into the shadows, seeking the truth behind the legend of the hellhound. We delved into ancient mythology, where Cerberus guarded the gates of Hades and Garmr stalked the frozen wastelands of Helheim. The black shuck terrorized the British countryside and the Hounds of Annwn hunted souls for their dark master. The hellhound remains elusive, a creature of shadow and whispers. Is it a real entity, a supernatural predator, or a product of our imaginations, a manifestation of our deepest fears? Perhaps the true power of the hellhound lies in its ability to tap into something primal within us. For centuries, the hellhound has stood at the crossroads, a symbol of the unknown. It reminds us of our mortality and our resilience. The legend of the hellhound challenges us, reminding us the world is stranger than we imagine. And as long as we seek answers in the shadows, the hound will be there, watching, its glowing eyes watching, always watching. The hellhounds can never erase the impact of a life lived with intention and love. Whether the hellhounds ultimately proves to be a creature of flesh and blood, a product of our collective imagination, or something entirely unexpected, the journey itself is a testament to the power of human curiosity, the importance of scientific inquiry, and the enduring allure of the unknown. Yet they also represent strength, wisdom, and the potential for transformation. Thank you for joining us on this incredible journey through the history of the hellhounds. If you enjoyed this video, please give it a thumbs up and consider subscribing to Horton's World for more explorations into the world's most fascinating myths and legends. And don't forget to hit the notification bell so you never miss an episode. We'd love to hear your thoughts in the comments below. What other mythical creatures or legends would you like us to explore next? Share your ideas and let's keep the flame of curiosity burning bright. And as always, stay curious.